All right, fuck all that. Anyways, man, yo, what's up, Swag Gang? You already know what time it is, man. It's your boy Keon Lar, aka KL Swag. Back here with a video, man. Look, man. We are back here again with Urinating Tree, bro. Yes, man. We are back here again with Urinating Tree, man. Oil crisis, brother. Tribulations of the Tennessee Oilers. Anyways, man, I guess you're going to be cracking on these teams, man, or whatever like that, man. But anyways, man, you already know what time it is, bro, with Urinating Tree and my reactions, man. So look, man, make sure you comment, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, man, because it's 74% of you guys that haven't subscribed yet. So come on, man. Subscribe, bro. You watching me, but you ain't subscribing, man. We're trying to get to 5K, man. Then 10K, then 11K, bro. Look, man, this is my job. But anyways, man, let's just get into the reaction.
We all know the chaos and hilarity of the Chargers' move to Los Angeles. It has been a disaster of unparalleled proportions so far.
Yeah.
From spending years in a soccer stadium to dealing with the indignity of being a glorified home game for most of their opposition, they have been a recurring punchline for the league. The city of LA does not care for them. They play second, even seventh fiddle to other teams with built-in allegiances. A former home remains scorned. Things look bleak. But there was another team that dealt with this situation before. To say that the Oilers' arrival in Tennessee was turbulent would be an understatement. Many of the same doubts laid at the Chargers' feet were placed upon the squad.
Gosh.
A team without a
Oh my
true home.
gosh, you can't catch
The
him.
oil crisis of years past would continue on in this new age and set a perilous course.
He got hurt. Chapter 1. Oh, God.
Welcome to
like
Houston. The year 1995. The Oilers are a hollow shell of their former glory.
God damn, that was
Years
nice
of playoff ineptitude and off-field drama have left the city fatigued and apathetic. The great stars of years past are either fading with age or gone. The contending window had slammed shut.
God!
The team had bottomed out with an unforgiving thud. Even with fresh talents like Steve McNair in tow, Houston couldn't shake the stench of previous failures. And now everything was starting to come to a head. Bud Adams sits...
That dude got put on his ass. Oh my gosh.
in an executive suite stewing. The Astrodome was becoming extremely antiquated. Trying to renovate it in the late 1980s was unsuccessful. The stadium turf was extremely unsafe and dilapidated. A preseason game against the Chargers in 1995 was canceled due to it. This soulless cavern wasn't an ideal place to come for events, and the lack of even passable amenities left a burning desire in his empty heart. It was empty because he had to pay exorbitant rent to Drayton McClain and the Astros to play there. He would ponder his actions, but one move created a spark. The Rams' exodus from Los Angeles. By bringing the team to St. Louis, the city offered Georgia Frontier the right to walk all over them in high heels. Guaranteed revenues in the tens of millions from season ticket sales and personal seat licenses. An extremely team-friendly lease of a brand new dome with all the fixins. He wanted that. No matter where it would take him, he yearned for such a deal. In Houston, Adams would prefer it, but a few things undid them. Years of failure and turmoil created deadly levels of apathy within the Oilers fan base. Bud, being the shrewd businessman, began the campaign right after gutting the franchise, facing the team undergoing a 2-14 collapse in 1994. Excellent timing. If I would say the name Bud Adams in the city of Houston, there would be some choice words about him. Affectionate words like asshole, worthless snake, incompetent, and motherfucker. They probably still hadn't forgiven him for firing Bum
He said motherfucker.
Phillips 15 years ago. He was poison, and anyone who allied with him suffered a perilous fate. The local populace and government still remember him strong-arming the city for upgrades to the Astrodome less than 10 years ago. I don't think threatening to move the team to Jacksonville is going to work this time. The city's recession due to a depressed oil industry and still paying off the renovation debts would emphasize that. Awful convenient how Houston's mayor Bob Lanier was seeking re-election soon. What better way to gain popularity in the polls than by shitting on Bud Adams? It's not like Adams wanted an incredibly lopsided deal from the city, having the Astros, Rockets, and a potential NHL team. Reconfigurable from top to bottom. A premier destination for all the hottest concerts.
Wow.
It would have been nice if he told the other owners of his plan. Les Alexander hated the idea of sharing team facilities and balked at the proposal immediately. But Adams could have used some political capital here. Too bad he burned it all in the early game. The stadium deal was dead before anything even came to fruition. Bud had no choice. He had to whore his team out to other cities. As mayor of Nashville, Phil Bredesen wanted to bring his city more prestige. They were growing rapidly but lacked legitimacy. You know what brings that? A professional sports franchise.
Wow.
They had built a new arena and nearly wooed the New Jersey Devils over. The time was now to strike. It was a match rivaling one on Tinder. Adams wanted a showing of affection. Bring me money and I will come. In which way I'll leave to the beholder. Bredesen immediately put a proposal to the Nashville populace to raise $80 million in public bonds to help fund the construction of a new football stadium. The referendum passed 59-41. But Adams would get exclusive negotiations. In 1995, NFL owners approved the move. The Oilers were leaving Houston. Released the Oilers from their lease. They were stuck there for 2 more seasons. So what would you expect to happen when a team is fucking off and the fan base already is at alarming levels of apathy? Well, they simply stopped giving a fuck. Attendance figures for home games in 1996 plummeted to the lowest levels the league had seen in decades. In most games, the Astrodome wouldn't even be a third full. Their home opener only brought in 27,725 people. If even that. Local coverage fell to a trickle. Games were regionally blacked out on television.
Damn.
The Oilers were so popular on the radio that they were interrupted for Houston Rockets preseason games.
Really?
I should correct myself. The pregame to the preseason games. The only matchups that generated any sort of attendance were against the Steelers, Dolphins, and 49ers, some of the better teams in the league at the time. And
God damn! Fucked him up!
it wasn't like they were terrible. They were mediocre, but they had just drafted Heisman Trophy winner Eddie George. There were reasons to watch this team, but it felt as if Houston relished in Bud Adams failing. What should have been a bitter send-off was barely even acknowledged. After barely surpassing 20,000 tickets sold against Carolina and Jacksonville, the fans mutually gave the Oilers the middle finger on the way out of the season. The final attendance numbers against the Bengals? 15,131. A total that wouldn't even sell out the Summit. The city was livid, and were almost celebratory in the owner's demise. Enjoy hell, bud. Bye! Don't let your ass hit the door on the way out, you worthless fuck! Bud Adams would become the ultimate villain in Houston. The man that killed football in their city every chance he got. Nobody shed any tears. Nobody wanted to deal with another year of this insanity. The city of Houston allowed Adams to pay a penalty and he would be free of his lease.
Wow, that's crazy. Chapter 2, Memphis Blues.
As Bud Adams and his Oilers were leaving Houston, he left many pissed in his wake. But this was a new era, a clean slate. His new domain, a shrine worthy of the glories of pigskin. In 2 years. As the move was premature, Bud needed his Oilers to find a temporary home to foster a relationship with his new city. At the time, the only stadium that came anywhere close to NFL caliber in Nashville was Vanderbilt Stadium. This venue was unacceptable to Bud. 3 problems were deal breakers to him. It only seated 41,000 people. Not enough for a top-flight franchise.
That is not enough.
Stadium.
Oh my God, they only seated 41,000 people? It must be like at least 100 and something, bro. What?
Lacked skyboxes. No luxury suite revenue. No schmoozing with local corporations. To top it off, Vanderbilt didn't allow the sale of alcoholic beverages on stadium grounds. Even less profit to be made. Nashville was off the table. But where could he go? You could try Neyland Stadium, home of the Volunteers in Knoxville. It's bigger than Vanderbilt. Over double its size. You know what? With a 3-hour drive, there's no way they're selling enough tickets to prevent local blackouts. They're out too. After searching for a moment, finally, an oasis in a desert of non-NFL stadiums. Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium. Over 60,000 seats to fill. An eager audience. Skyboxes. This is a perfect place to call home for the next 2 years. The only downside? It's in Memphis. On the other side of the goddamn state. A 3.5-hour drive from Nashville. Better yet, there was major construction taking place on I-40. So add up to 90 minutes on that drive. But that would be the least of their issues. In his wisdom, Bud Adams completely failed to read the room. The city of Memphis had been desperately trying to secure their own NFL team for the past 2 decades. They had a passionate fan base, but were routinely stymied by the Shield.
Wow.
Their World Football League franchise's attempted invasion in the mid-'70s was smacked down in legal courts. They were one of the finalists for an expansion franchise in 1993, but they lost out in the final round of voting. And now this is their consolation prize? Some fly-by-night operation that's going to be gone in a few years? And worse to their big brother on the other part of the state? Why the fuck would Memphians support this? Do they not realize the massive rivalry between Memphis and Nashville? It gets more tone-deaf, too. Bud Adams said that he would consider changing the name of the team to something more fitting of Tennessee.
What would that be?
But he had decided to cling on to tradition and keep them the Oilers. I wish I could say that's it, but it gets worse. Doubling down on his greatness, he wished for the city to start a season ticket drive to prove they were worthy of his team's presence. Even better, he all but demanded the city of Memphis pay for his team's travel expenses to their city. Yes, the team itself would have their offices and players practice in Nashville. The team would be playing 32 away games.
Wow.
After mass backlash, the Oilers backed off that stipulation.
That sucks. 32 away games, bro? No.
But Bud Adams was eager to get tithes from what he called Memphinites, merely unwashed masses that needed conversion to the Oiler Lord. Amen. If Bud thought the people of Houston were cold to him in 1996, Memphians were absolute zero. The 1997 Tennessee Oilers took the attendance lows of last year's team and took them even lower, to figures not seen in the NFL since the 1950s.
Ooh!
No one gave a fuck. Memphians didn't care if it wasn't theirs. Nashvillians balked at the long trek across state. If they were lucky, some of...
Wait, so this was a team back in the day? Like this was a team back in the day, and the team is not out now? Like, oh, shit. Told you guys, I'm kind of sick, bro. Damn. Nose and shit. But anyways, man. Damn. This was a team back in the day, bro? What? And the team never existed after that. Y'all let me know down below, bro. That's crazy, man. A team back in the day, bro. And now it's like, who gives a fuck about him? Like, we don't know like anything about him now, bro.
opposing fans showed up. A near-empty stadium was the backdrop for the Oilers' every home game. Their home opener in Memphis was expected to hold 50 to 55,000 people. They barely cracked 30. The next two games...
They barely cracked 30? What? What? Oh my God.
I wouldn't look for hope there.
Holy... Look at all this damage!
You wanted to hear about the season ticket drive to prove Memphians were worthy of the Oilers? Are you a glutton for punishment? And that's just the beginning of the fun. Imagine you being in the shoes of a fan. You sit for ages in a traffic jam to get...
So basically, they barely made money, bro. Basically, they was a team, an NFL team, but they barely made money. So I guess they stopped, bro, because they barely made money. That's crazy, man.
To the stadium, then wait in line even longer for the one ticket booth they have open. As you pay the ridiculously exorbitant ticket prices, you enter the lifeless, dilapidated stadium to see a ripped, discolored playing field and a scoreboard where its main feature is heavy rust. One end zone says Oilers, the other Tigers. Maybe you live in Jackson, Tennessee, an hour east of Memphis. Some Oilers players are coming for a press conference. And they just sit there awkwardly in near 100-degree heat, saying nothing.
Wow.
A staring contest for the ages. The team itself tried to parade down Beale Street in Memphis one day. Nobody came. Groundswelling of support. But what about the team itself? Let's put it this way. In the summer of 1997, the Oilers were still holding their mini camps in Houston.
Oh my God.
They didn't actually move to Tennessee until nearly the start of training camp. Their home offices in Nashville were a bunch of rickety brown trailers.
Sneeze break. Fuck, man. Allergies are kicking in.
The special teams units had to push portable goalposts onto the field just to practice kicks.
Sneeze break. God damn. Damn, these allergies are kicking in. Fuck, man. Any more? Any more? Fuck, man.
The Oilers didn't even bother trying to market the team to Nashville. They spent more time trying to plead with Memphians to show up. It's a miracle that the Oilers of '97 were just mediocre instead of totally god-awful considering the circumstances. And even after all of this, the terrible attendance figures, the constant travel, the disastrous PR stunts, Bud Adams was willing to suffer through another year of this.
Wow.
They had one more game to play against the Steelers at home in '97, and it was easily their best showing in terms of attendance. Over 50,000 strong rushed to see this game. Good on the surface. But look around and one thing becomes very, very apparent. The stadium was infested with Steelers fans. Some say over 4/5 of it rooted for the black and gold. It was a spectacular embarrassment for the franchise and the NFL itself. The Memphis experiment had proven to be an unmitigated disaster. It was so humiliating that Bud Adams had to run back to Nashville with his tail between his legs.
Wow.
Bud's dubbed Memphonites celebrated his failure. The sheer horror. Will the Oilers ever find salvation? Maybe playing in their damn home city could be a start.
Chapter 3.
1997 was a year of catastrophe for the Oilers, and it was their own goddamn fault. Bud Adams foolishly thought his team could play anywhere temporarily, and it blew up in his face. He would return to Nashville, not as a conqueror, but a dejected man. He must play in a skybox-less Vanderbilt Stadium for a year. Maybe longer. But that's not the end of this tale just yet. Mother Nature decided to make an appearance in April of 1998. That fantastic shrine being built just happened to be in the way of a tornado. A bit of damage to the structure and a few cranes collapsing, but nothing too calamitous to delay construction long term. Thus, it will lead to one of the few things the Oilers did right in years. They helped out with the city's cleanup efforts. It was a PR bonanza. Probably the first time that Nashvillians felt that Bud's team was trying to be a part of their city. It wasn't much, but it was at least a start. A few things still hampered Bud's efforts to convert the unwashed.
So the Oilers were basically just a team that I should have been on. Like, Oilers just seemed like a team that was just pure ass, bro. Like, I would have been a star on that team, man. I would have been a star on that team, bro. Embarrassing.
Masses. Most importantly, the name of the team. A huge sticking point was that they were still called the Oilers.
That's crazy.
It didn't feel like their team. Where is the oil in Tennessee? Bud Adams wasn't their owner. He still lived in Houston, for God's sake. It still felt temporary. Perhaps they should have tried marketing the damn team to them the previous year. As the 1998 season progressed, they were still having trouble bringing fans through the turnstiles.
That is crazy.
The attendance figures were better than they were the last 2 years, but they were unable.
Damn, so Eddie George, it seemed like Eddie George was playing on the team, but damn, he couldn't bring in fans either. Like, bro, they should have got like a player that's like fire as hell and that's like famous as like type shit, bro. And, you know, they probably would have got more tickets for everybody just to watch him. Not just the team, but to watch him, bro. But it's like, damn, man.
Able to sell out Vanderbilt Stadium most games. Nashvillians were still lukewarm towards their seemingly ungrateful and indignant hosts. To fix it, Bud Adams would have to do what he long refused to. He would be changing the name of the team. In November of 1998, a new identity was revealed. One that would characterize and embolden the attributes of Nashville and its people. The Athens of the...
Oh, okay. Damn, it's like some big history type shit, bro. I know you guys love when I react to Urinating Tree, bro. Shout out to Urinating Tree, bro. Damn, so they was the Oilers before the Titans? Damn.
South would get a name honoring Greek mythology. The Titans. What they are known as to this day, and will be for a while to come.
Wow.
It's funny because Bud nearly fucked this up too. He was about to call them the Pioneers. Regardless of that, Bud wanted to deliver one last fuck you to his old home. He would keep the Oilers' name in history. The nickname would be retired by Paul Tagliabue, so no other team would be able to use it again.
God damn.
Once the new stadium was complete, let's just say things got a bit better for the Titans. Nashville would slowly embrace the team. It felt like it was finally theirs. Helping matters, the 1999 Titans were really goddamn good. The emergence of an elite offense led by Steve McNair and Eddie George. The freak Javon Curse
Steve McNair was really like that. I only know because of Ultimate Team.
terrorizing opposing quarterbacks. Even a few old faces from Team Turmoil were still around. Bud Adams would become a god in his new city, just as he had hoped when his desires for a new stadium began 5 years earlier. A 13-3 season would only be the beginning. They would ride this momentum to a Super Bowl, their first in franchise history. As for what happened that game, well, I'll save you the anguish of it.
Damn.
But what about Memphis? Scorned sister that openly rejected their temporary suitor? They would not get an NFL franchise. Only a few other short-lived football teams in the XFL and AAF that were given a tepid response. However,
Johnny Manziel, he's so cute.
They would receive legitimacy in a professional sports franchise. It was in the NBA. In 2001, the Grizzlies would defect from Canada to Memphis, and Memphians were elated to at least have something that Nashville didn't. Now, if they stay there, considering their small market status and alleged financial turmoil is up for debate, but it's at least a somewhat happy ending. Houston, the adversary of Bud Adams and vice versa, had their own issues to deal with in the Astros and Rockets.
Wow.
Both had demanded new stadiums, and both were on the verge of moving in the late 90s. But unlike with Bud Adams, those teams had political capital to work with, and were able to secure new stadiums for themselves. Adams did a victory lap after the fact, but no one gave a shit. Despite this, the allure of the pigskin was still very strong with the city, and they were able to secure an expansion franchise over Los Angeles for 2002. However, they would not be the Oilers, as Adams was a petty fuck, but the Texans. At least the perpetual turmoil stayed with that franchise, though. But that is another story entirely. One unfolding as I speak.
2nd and 7 for the Texans.
Oh my gosh, bro. If you guys want me to react to Houston, the city that sold its soul, let me know down below in the comments, man. But anyways, man, I love you guys. You guys stay sweaty. I will see you guys in the next video, bro.